All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nonprofit Enthusiasts Live. Happy New Year's. Welcome to 2023, everyone. So glad to be here with you all for another Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. If you are here, just give me a hey, how you doing in the chat box so that I know that you are here. So last week we had the countdown to 2023, and here we are, and it was absolutely amazing. So I look forward to updating you on all on our giveaway winners. Along with yesterday, we had our adverse childhood experience training with ACEs Matter, our awareness party. And I'm telling you, if you have not tune in or join us for these parties, you definitely don't want to miss it. One of the biggest things that I like to share with nonprofit professionals is with knowing your own adverse childhood experiences and the impact it has on you, it can help you become a better service provider to your clients. So we will be having another one coming up in February. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat box. So please make sure that you sign up for that. Let me drop that in the chat now. Once again, if you're here, just let us know that you are here. Happy New Year's to everyone. I'm so glad to have another live with you all. There we go. And we'll give it a few minutes before we get started. Once again, I'm going to be announcing our giveaway winners today. So I am super excited about that. So today, this month kicks off the conversation. Our topic is leadership and board development, along with Nonprofit 101. We are going back to the basic when starting a nonprofit organization. If you are a, let's say, senior nonprofit, older nonprofit, it's still good to kind of listen to the foundational pieces to make sure that you have everything in order with your organization. And of course, we love for those of you that have nonprofits for years, decades, or are part of nonprofits that's been around for a long time to share some of your best practices. So we definitely will be looking forward to that throughout the conversation this month. So this month's theme is leadership and board development, nonprofit 101. We have guests coming on to talk about these very things throughout the month. So if you're here, invite a friend to the Facebook group and go ahead and tag them in the chat box so they don't miss out to today's conversation, Nonprofit 101, starting a nonprofit. I'm going to the basic formation when it comes to starting a nonprofit. So that's how far back that we're going. So if you know someone who was interested in starting a nonprofit, this will be a good live for them to tune in on. So go ahead and tag them. If you're catching us on replay, give us a hashtag replay in the chat box. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, okay, when starting a nonprofit organization, understand that there are so many different pieces, especially when it comes to compliance pieces, programmatic pieces, areas and capacity building that needs to take place. So my goal today is to kind of talk about some of those foundational pieces when it comes to starting your nonprofit organization, and things to consider. So a lot of times organizations, what happened? We get started, right? We have a passion. We're like, we want to see this change. Now what? And that's when we go to Google and all these different places looking for guidance as to how can we bring this into action. So one thing when you're considering starting your nonprofit organization that you want to do is consider developing your founding board. Part of that is defining the duties of your board members, your expectations for them. And remember, board members typically have governance and oversight of an organization. So you definitely want to outline that as part of the duties. This is an area that I recommend that you are sometimes what I find is organizations will kind of go, or founders will go to, your family members who definitely are passionate about you, but may not necessarily believe in the nonprofit and what it's doing. And nothing's wrong about having family members on your board. What I just want to say, just be cautious when doing that to make sure that you still follow those outlining the duties and those foundational steps for those family members. Okay, because what happens later on is, that's when we're having a conversation and a lot of people say, hey, my board is inactive. Listen, it's my family members on the board. It's hard to get them to move. It's hard to get them in action. So, defining your duties of your board members is helpful, and that would help you identify your founding board members. So that's the next thing, is identify who your founding board members are, because these are the responsibilities. You'll be able to identify who would be a good fit for it. And a lot of times too, when it comes to founding your board members, is good to look at your 12 sectors for community change that we talk about, right? What, depending on the mission of your organization or the focus of your organization, who are people that need to be at the table and part of the conversation when founding the organization, I'm sorry. So identify a method to collaborate with your board members. So now you identify your board members. Typically, you have a minimum of at least 3 board members, and one of them, of course, would be you as the founder. So then now you're identifying a method to collaborate with those board members. So you guys might say, hey, we're going to meet, we're going to meet every, bi-month, every other month. And we're going to meet in the method of face-to-face or whichever. So that's a good way to kind of collaborate. And of course, you want to host your first board meeting. And your first board meeting is a good time to adopt, that's where you're doing a lot of adoption of your bylaws, your basic policies, such as your conflict of interest policy, your whistleblower policy. A lot of that is really good for you to do as a part of your founding board meeting. You guys are going to agree on the nonprofit filing process. Like, yes, we're going to vote on, we're ready to move forward to do our articles of incorporation. This is how we're going to do it. This is who's going to do it. That's a good time to have that conversation as to, is someone on our board going to take care of that? Or are we going to call nonprofit enthusiasts to help us out and do our filings for us? So all of that will be talked about, and you can approve during that founding board meeting. Okay, so that's some basics when it comes to, okay, I started my nonprofit, now what do I do? So you're starting to look at your board area, and there's so many different pieces, and things I'm going over today is not exhaustive, but I just want to give you an idea of areas to think about. Okay. All right. Let me check the chat box. If you're here, here we are, first week of 2023. Let me know that you are here. Say something in the chat, tag someone. If you're catching it on replay, again, give me a hashtag replay. So as mentioned, this month's theme is leadership and board development and nonprofit 101. So a lot of our conversation is going to go to the basics of nonprofit and building your nonprofit organization. Okay, and even if you're an organization that's been around or a part of an organization that's been around, it's always good to kind of get this refresher. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is your nonprofit filings, your compliance filings. So something that you'll do is, so now you have your board members, so you have your bylaws, all of that is adopted. So now you're ready to go ahead and get the compliance piece in. So you're able to check with the Secretary of State that your name is available, and then develop and file your articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State. So sometimes what would happen, I'm going to tell you all, we would get a call, hey, we try to file our articles ourselves. Long story short, there are some states where they will not, although they allow you to file your articles on the website, it will not allow you to put the language such as the dissolution clause that's required by the IRS into the articles of incorporation on their website. So then what happens is, let's say you went on your own, you filed your articles of incorporation, and then you come to find out when you get ready to do your 1023 or 1023 easy for your 501c3, that the requirements that the IRS is asking you, are they in your articles or your founding documents, are not there. So that's why we say, of course, don't do it alone so we can save you the headache. At that point, you're doing the amendment, which takes longer than doing the initial filing. So definitely make sure that you look into that when filing your articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State, with your state. Something else, once that's completed, you're filing your your identification number with the IRS to get that, your tax ID. Then from there, you're going to the IRS to file either your 1023 or 1023-EZ. If you go to the IRS website, there is a checklist on the 1023-EZ that if you answer those questions, it'll help you determine whether you can file that form. So the EZ pretty much is a shorter format of the 1023. When I founded my organization 10 years ago, there was no EZ. You had to file the 1023 and you waited about 3 months for your response. And the 1023 is a much longer form than the EZ is. So you'll definitely just take a look at that. And then from there, you can go ahead and proceed with completing the application or phoning a friend to help you. So we are here, and all of these things that I'm talking about are things that we help support you along the way in. Okay, so then from there are some states that allow you to file for tax exemption. And some that require you to complete, and they're called different names, charitable solicitation registration. Your tax exemption form allows you, when making purchases and so forth throughout your state, to be exempt from taxes. Not all states do it, but so that's something you definitely want to look into. And then your charitable state solicitation registration, some states require, if you're going to fundraise in that state or solicit funds in that state, you have to have this on file. So then you have to complete that with your state as well. So making sure that you do those two things. The other thing is there are some states that require additional filings outside of these. So definitely making sure that you check with your state on those requirements. There's some that once you complete this process, you have to report it to them. So make sure you check with your state. And once again, that's why, you phone a friend to help you in the process. All right. Hey, Danita, good morning. Yes, back to basics. It is always helpful to go back. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So I went over starting your founding your board members. We completed your nonprofit filings. So another thing, sometimes what would happen as well is while we're waiting on the 1023-EZ to come back or any of these filings to take place, organization will say, well, what can I do now? That is a really good time to undergo a lot of your business planning, okay? So this is where you're developing your mission, your vision, your core values. You're developing your logic model that we talked about. So you could really streamline what programs you're going to be offering. You're taking a look at what the community need is for your area and the identified community that you'll be serving. You're developing your marketing and outreach plan. How are you going to reach this target audience? Your financial plan, which is very important. How do you all plan on bringing funds to raising funds into the organization? What would that model look like? And of course, you always want to make sure that you have a diversified funding model, not just relying on one funding source, whether it's grant fundraisings and so forth. And then you're recruiting and training your volunteers and staff members to be able to put all of this into action, right? So that's some of the things that you can be doing while you're waiting up your 501c3 to come in. And some of this your 501c3 will come in, and you may still need a few months to continue to go through this process. And don't feel like you're in a rush, because a lot of time I find that organizations, you start your organization, you hit the ground running, which is absolutely great, but don't forget these foundational pieces, okay? Because what happens is oftentimes if you don't have some of these foundational pieces, you get into a situation where, let's say, it might be a financial opportunity. Hey, I want to give to your organization. Can you submit your charitable state solicitation form to us? We don't have it. So now we have to wait until we get that, if the donor is willing to wait that long, right? Or can you can you share with us what your sustainability or marketing plan is for your organization? Let's go rush and put that together, right? So we don't want you to be in that predicament. So definitely make sure that you take the time to build your organization. Invest now, it will definitely pay off later. So definitely do that. So I covered a few things today: starting your board for your nonprofit organization, completing the filings for your nonprofit, doing your business planning, and overall, along the way, as you need different area capacity building support, we are here. So Nonprofit Enthusiasts, we are a full service consulting firm. We work with various size nonprofit organizations, from starting new organizations to organizations that's been around for decades. And we're working in different areas within your organization, whether it's helping you develop your programs, helping you develop your communication, your website, your marketing plans. So we do all of that in-house. So that's something that, and the cool thing is, if you work with us, it's a long-lasting relationship. We are here, right? So we have a lot of organizations that come in, they complete the filing with us, and then we move into other stages. So we are here. It's a relationship. It's a family. It's not a quick we did your filings and goodbye. We hope to continue that relationship with you and continue to be here to help you along your nonprofit journey. So that's what I got when it comes to starting a nonprofit organization. Once again, our topic this month is leadership and board development, nonprofit 101. We're going to take it back to the basics, y'all, this month. If you have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the group throughout, and we'll be discussing them throughout this month. So now the time you all have been waiting for. Well, first, let's talk about homework, because I like to end with some homework. So homework is, if you are thinking about starting a nonprofit organization, start thinking about these steps and how you can move them into action in 2023. If you were like me, it took me 2 years before I started my nonprofit. And a lot of that was because I was focused on trying to get the perfect business plan in place. And then someone told me, and I shared this story, that was doing what I was doing. She was what I aspired to do. She was like, just go, pretty much just go and let those that you serve create your mission, your vision, your core values for you. And what she meant by that is not to skip the business planning process, but she was just saying, just go ahead and start acting, working in the field that you want to be in, and then pull those people in and allow them to help visualize what our business plan, what our logic model should look like, and so forth. And that was extremely helpful and really good advice that helped me kickstart my nonprofit. So if that's where you are, I'm gonna tell you, just get started. I talked about some of those foundational pieces. Start thinking about that, and let's make 2023 that year for you. If you are a existing organization, just taking a look at the things that I just talked about, and making sure that you didn't skip any of those pieces. A piece that oftentimes organizations that's been around skip is that logic model strategic planning piece. So just making sure you go back and take a look at that and make that one of your goals for the upcoming year to be able to complete this year. All right, so the time we've all been waiting for. So last week, you all are absolutely amazing. So last week we had a giveaway that ended on New Year's. So pretty much we said, invite 10 friends to the group and you enter for a chance to win a difference maker t-shirt from Crisis Relief. So we had over 400 invites to the group within an hour, y'all. Y'all are so amazing. Meaning you all tuning in, took the time, went up, which I'm going to ask, if you haven't done it, go up into the group, click invite, and invite more people into the group. And you all can see, as more people join the group, the conversation is so robust. We're able to kind of lean on each other to support each other in a nonprofit journey. So please take a moment and do that. So with this giveaway, that was the ask, to just invite 10 members, and we closed it on New Year's Day. And we were able to hit our 800. We posted that in the group. So yay, we hit 800, y'all, before the new year. So the winners of that giveaway is, drum roll, please. I'll do my little drum roll by myself over here, is Lashina Hannah. And I'm telling you, this is not rigged just because her name is Lashina. That's not why, you know, even though I like your name. So Lashina Hannah and Ann Wilson, congratulations. So if you all can inbox me, and I will connect with you all to order those t-shirts for you from Christ's Relief, the difference maker t-shirt. So definitely, if you all also, let's say you are not a winner of the giveaway, still check out those t-shirts. You could go to christisrelief.org. You could purchase the t-shirts there. I wore my difference maker t-shirt last week and I wear it all the time when I'm at the store. It's a great conversation starter while you're out in the community. So definitely grab your shirt. Other than that, I am so excited for the upcoming new year. Next week, we'll be on with, we have a few guests coming on this month. We have next week will be Robert Jones will be coming on, so get your CPA and accounting questions ready. So Robert will be on with us. And then we have a few other guests coming on throughout the month. So definitely tune in. If there is anybody that you feel like, hey, would be awesome to come on a live and share information with the group, feel free to send me their information, inbox me, because we're always looking for different individuals within the nonprofit arena, and they can be a nonprofit professional themselves. You may see them moving and shaking in the community. They're a nonprofit leader, and you just really feel that they have information to share in various areas that can help support the group. So feel free to inbox me that as well. All right, you all. So have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.